Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and today I want to talk to you about grading paper money and just taking a look at things that are already graded, and we're going to talk about what to look for. And I'm going to give you some verbal cues to help you remember, and then we're just going to look at it from mostly just from a distance. This of course is taking up the whole screen, but it's still a distance. And what I want to talk about is the different kind of grade tiers that you're going to run into. Of course, grading paper money like coins, the VF area is the broadest area. So I'm going to talk about what you're going to see here with a bunch of notes that are graded VF 20 to 25. Now, VF 20 to 25, you're going to talk about coins. Yeah, it's not talking about coins. We're going to talk about notes that are well worn, but are not regs, right? There won't be any crispness to them. They're just a well evenly worn note, but the design should be pretty bold and strong still, but a nice evenly worn note. So all of these notes here, these first 4 or 5 notes, are all graded in the VF range, 20 to 25. You just see it's just a lot of wear, but it's not a rag, right? A lot of wear, not a rag. So just lower VF. Now when you get to the this one's a VF25 also. Just notice the amount of wear on these notes. A lot of notes are tricky because on one side of the note it won't look like there's a lot of wear, and then the other side there will. It's just like coins, you look at both sides to try to figure out what you're looking at. Now we're going to move into notes that are VF30s and 35s. Now VF30s and 35s have a little bit less wear, but the wear is still noticeable. So you're going to go to noticeable wear on these guys, but not really a crisp note yet. So noticeable wear, but the note itself still looks like it's not really necessarily a crisp note. So that's a VF30. Here's another note. You see a lot of these notes, they look, instead of like they're worn and worn and worn, they look like they're folded and folded and folded. And so that's something you'll see pretty typically. You see how the notes all kind of look like they have, you can see lots of folds on the notes when you look at them. So this is all fold lines, fold lines, fold lines, all the way across. So this is a VF35. Same thing here. You've got a note that has lots of folding to it. This line here, I should just always use my pointer here, right? Instead of my pointer finger, these are all fold lines. Right, this is all fold lines, kind of crinkly, but still mostly not crisp. Maybe a little hint of crispness, but really mostly you're looking at noticeable wear and not really crisp. Now we're going to jump up to the XF40s here. Now we're going to go to things that have wear that you can see, but the notes in these XF grades are pretty crispy looking, right? So at a glance, from a distance, for someone who's kind of a novice, these are going to look like they're pretty clean notes. But if you look at a lot of bank notes, and once again you get it from the different angles here, and you can see, lots of times you see guys get the light behind it so you can see where the folds are, because the light exposes the folds. You see how this turns into a dark line here. So this is a note with some crispness to it. Now, the old school guys, when I first started doing this, and there was no grading, no paper money grading, Guarantee Corporation or any of that stuff. Guys always handled money with their hands, not with gloves. I mean, it was a thing. This is also just a fold line. You see how that's crinkly here and here. So this is stuff that looks like it's just been in circulation a little while, right? You see that? But the guys, they used to always handle the money, and you would actually rest the note in the palm of your hand like this and see how the note reacted to see how much life was in the note, how much crispness was there. So your extra fine notes, they're going to be crisp with noticeable wear, right? So things that are a little bit easier to see, it's easier to see all the little crinkle lines on this thing from some handling. So you can see handling. If you can see handling, it's probably going to be an extra fine. You move into the AUs, and now you're starting to get notes that the note is mostly crisp with just the slightest bit of handling. Right, so this is an AU53 note, and at a glance it's like, okay, well, you can see it's been handled a little bit. Like you get a little bit of an angle here and you can see some of the crinkling, but they're not really creases. It's not like major folds or anything. It's just a little bit less than the one before. So, you can describe these things to yourself verbally, and some of you are very much so verbally minded in the way you handle things. Here's an AU55, similar type note. So if you get used to thinking about it verbally instead of numerically or what have you, you can kind of get yourself in the ballpark as far as what you're looking for. And here's another, this is kind of a borderline one. They call this AU50, so you're really on a borderline from that XF45. But once again, you've got a note here that is still mostly crisp, strong-bodied note. No real major folds to it. It's just some light handling. And so hopefully the verbal cues will help you out. So when we're looking at the list, right, so we have the two different VF levels. I wrote VF and VF plus, right? So the low VF, high VF. Well worn and not a rag, right? Well worn, but not a rag. Noticeable wear, but not really a crisp note. Then you get to the XFs and you've got noticeable wear with some crispness. And then you get to the AU notes. It's going to be mostly crisp with some handling. So some of these things, it's like you're just kind of sliding on down the scale to see what's available. So that's kind of the verbal listing of what to look for, your VF through AU notes, and just kind of a way to think about grading paper money a little bit differently than just thinking about the numbers. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.